of an eye. I've been asked questions from my employer if something was done, if I've observed certain things. I have to deal with a lot of different pieces of paper, a lot of footage, a lot. But I can answer every question. One, I've been gifted with a wonderful memory that hasn't waned, but I can remember some of the things and stats that I used to put up years ago. So my point is, if you are passionate and you know what you're doing, simple, basic questions should not be a problem. So the question posed to FBI Director from Senator Mazie Hirono, who you see pictured. And again, some of you may be out enjoying the holidays, so happy holidays to you, my trucker gals and trucker guys that may be just tuning in, those first responders, those in law enforcement that might be in your cruisers. A lot of you are doing DUI checkpoints, so please be safe out there that may be tuning into different programs. Welcome. I appreciate all of you, especially those that leave messages and emails. I appreciate those. Oh, and I also wanted to thank those individuals who sent love blessings and offered to send them during the Christmas holidays. You don't have to do that. What I give, and when I give, is from the heart, and I just want you all to know that. So you don't have to return anything. I appreciate you all so much. So let's get back to the story before I go off on a tangent. I happen to do that at times. So Senator Hirono asked FBI Director KASH Patel this question right here. How many FBI employees left since Trump? And you must excuse me, pardon me, but I have to be honest with you. The probability of me chuckling throughout this broadcast is extremely high. If that is bothersome and an irritation, while I would love for you to stay, I understand if you must leave. I'm just being honest with you and giving you a foreshadowing of what's definitely to come. Again, the question was, how many FBI employees have left since President Donald Trump took office? That includes, and I'm going to say this slowly, firings or being let go, resignations, quitting, being reassigned, that happens often, or retirements. Okay, so we'll get back to that again. Reassignments, resignations, firings, retirements. How many FBI employees have left since President Donald Trump took office? Unfortunately, KASH Patel could not or would not, and I would venture to agree with the latter, answer that simple question. So we are going to listen to some audio of Macy Harano. But before we do that, I'm going to do one of my favorite parts, and that's grab a few comments. Kashmir Patel, and this is from Robert, says, needs to be gone. He has no experience at all. Let me get to that momentarily when Jasmine Crockett tore into it. Only in the United States, the leader of an organization who doesn't know what's happening in it. That's very sad and very telling what other countries think about us. That's very important. And, in my opinion, very dangerous. Elena says, he is so incompetent, and what an embarrassment to Americans. WTF. I don't have to tell you what WTF stands for. Cynthia says, Patel is unqualified, period. Now, I wonder how many people are going to come in this chat and say, DEI hire, DEI hire. So many, when I did a story on DC Police Chief Pamela Smith, you had no problem saying that. So I want that same energy. See, I'm not going to just talk about one group of people. No, when you're wrong, or let me say this, unconfirmed reports come out, I'm going to do a little digging and give my 2 cents. And that's what many people do. Very disrespectful. He, in my opinion, is one of the most arrogant, pompous individuals I have heard with respect to answering questions. And that is, again, in my opinion, because he doesn't know the answers to the questions. It's a cat and mouse game. He wants to appear, again, in my opinion, to have it under control. But sometimes when you're backed up against a corner and you come out swinging instead of being calm, that says a lot, again, in my opinion, as well. Next couple of comments, and we'll go on to the audio. So again, welcome to this Sunday early edition entitled Kash Patel Scorched When Asked Simple Questions. I'm your hostess, Lise, and welcome. If you are new here, welcome, and I hope to see you again virtually at another time. Patel, and this is from Lisa, says Patel is rude and a disgrace. And Teresa says, what a disrespectful little man. Now, she didn't have to go there, but again, these are opinions. Just because he has a title does not make him qualified. What an, I'll say, backside. You'll know what that person is saying. So let's get on to Senator Harino. Again, fair use.
Mr. No, FBI agents' primary responsibility is exactly what they are assigned to do. We always work with our interagency partners.
To their position,
if you're not going to let me answer, why don't you just do your soliloquy in the 4.5 minutes you have left?
I am not asking.
So he just said to her, if you're not going to let me answer the question, just go ahead on with your 4-minute soliloquy. Let me see if I can't get you all just a quick sneaky poo of his face. on this. Hopefully it'll work. Let me take her. It's the same person, so here we go. Maybe not. Okay. I just want you to see his face.
Yes or no? FBI agents' primary responsibility is exactly what they are assigned to do. We always work with our interagency partners.
To their positions,
if you're not going to let me answer, why don't you just do your soliloquy in the 4.5 minutes you have left?
I am not asking for a soliloquy. It's just a yes or no. Are those people who are returned to their jobs still in those jobs? Yes or no?
They never left.
What was that?
They never left their primary job. It is a surge of resources in law enforcement working with the interagency to combat violent crime and reduce violent crime in historic proportions.
That's your testimony.
So you can see right there, Senator Harino, it was no joke, and you could see because I just showed you a clip. Again, fair use. You put that up there just in case. How agitated he was. So let's continue to listen to Madam Senator Macy Harino. And again, I do pray that I am pronouncing her name correctly. Fair use.
Okay.
Senator Macy Hirono asked a simple question every American deserves answered. How many FBI employees have left under KASH Patel? He couldn't or wouldn't say, and that silence speaks volumes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Patel, just like the rest of the federal government, there have been significant personnel changes at the FBI since President Trump took office. I want to better understand the scope of the turnover and the changes occurring at the FBI.
So basically, Senator Hirono, as you heard her just a moment ago say, she just wants a better understanding. She wants clarity. Okay, she's seeking clarity as it relates to the turnover since President Donald Trump has taken office. Now, I do want to say as a side note, for those of you who may not have heard the news yet, the FBI building that has been the Hoover building since, I believe, 1975, there has been an announcement that that's going to close and it's going to move to the Ronald Reagan building. What is going to happen after that, I don't know, but I'm curious as to what prompted that. I don't know if it's because it's an old, antiquated building. I've mentioned before, I worked as a contractor there years ago, and those hallways are mighty long, but it's like a staple. It's a staple, but let's face it, things change, and they've been changing. So let's continue to listen to Senator Macy Hirono ask FBI Director KASH Patel questions relating to the numbers of individuals in the FBI that are no longer there, again, by way of resignations, firing, retirements, or reassignments.
Since January 2025, how many FBI employees have retired, resigned, been fired, or otherwise separated from employment? I need a number.
We'll get you a number.
What is the number? You don't have it?
Not off the top of my head, and I want to get you the right number.
Would it surprise you to know that it's probably in the thousands, like 5,000?
I don't think that number's
No,
accurate.
you don't know. Next question. How many special agents?
Now, I'm going to do a hard stop right there because I did a short, and I want you all to listen to that. And this person said the exact same thing when it related to the numbers. And Kash Patel was quick to say he didn't believe it was the numbers that these individuals posed to him, but yet and still, he didn't know off the top of the head. He just didn't know. So let's listen to this clip really quickly.
Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he hung himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
When do you think you'll have it done, Kash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Like before I die?
Senator, we've been working on that, and we're doing it in a way that protects victims and also doesn't put out into the ether information that is irrelevant for.
Kash Patel has been asked by two different senators on two different subjects and same response. I'll get you that information. Sir, again, at your level, in your position, which you are totally unqualified, in my opinion, and in the opinions of many, these are things you should already know before you sit your hind parts down at these meetings. You should already know these are going to be these types of questions that are going to be asked of you. And to come so unprepared says, again, in my opinion, a lot about you. Let's continue to listen to Senator Hirono.
Agents or analysts have left or been fired from the FBI since January 20th, 2025.
Say, we will get you the numbers, and anyone that retires is of their own volition, and anyone that is terminated at the FBI, as I've said before, is done so because they have failed to meet the standards and uphold their loyalty and oath to the Constitution.
So you say. Next question. How many executive assistant directors?
She just cut him off. Let me see if I can't roll that back just a tad so you can hear it clearly.
Next question. How many special agents or analysts have left or been fired from the FBI since January 20th, 2025?
Say, we will get you the numbers, and anyone that retires is of their own volition, and anyone that is terminated at the FBI, as I've said before, is done so because they have failed to meet the standards and uphold their loyalty and oath to the Constitution.
So you say. Next question. How many executive assistants?
She said, oh, so you say. She has not let up. Let's continue.
Assistant directors, or special agents in charge have left or been fired from the FBI since January 20th, 2025.
Again, people leaving on their own accord or terminations were done by the standards set at the FBI that have been carried out.
With this question, I'm getting to the leadership of the FBI, and you don't have that answer. Next question. Which field office, division, or directorate has lost the most personnel since January 2025? And do you have the answer to that question?
Yeah, actually, every single field office in the country, including Hawaii, has received a plus up of FBI agents because we're pushing them out to the field.
Okay, so you're telling me that no field office, division, or directorate has lost any personnel since January 20th, 2025. That's your answer?
In Hawaii, there's been a plus up in every.
She just caught him, and if you paid attention to his testimony earlier on in this broadcast, he didn't know an answer, but now he's saying that there's been a plus up. There's a contradiction here, and this is the problem with this individual.
Every single state that I'm looking at, we have allocated a plus up for field offices across the country so that the FBI can continuing the historic achievements it's done in these last 7 months. When you're talking about firings, you're looking for a media hit and a fundraising clip, and I'm not going to give it to you.
He was hot, so I want you all to see that. So let me take the senator down for a minute. Actually, let me rewind it a bit. And let's take a look. Hopefully those that are viewing can see this. I just want you to pay attention to body language and look at his, sorry, try to look at his eyes.
He has received a plus up of FBI agents because we're pushing them out to the field.
Okay, so you're telling me that no field office, division, or directorate has lost any personnel since January 20th, 2025. That's your answer?
In Hawaii, there's been a plus up. In every single state that I'm looking at, we have allocated a plus up for field offices across the country so that the FBI can continuing the historic achievements it's done in these last 7 months. When you're talking about firings, you're looking for a media hit and a fundraising clip, and I'm not going to give it to you.
I'm mad. I'm big mad. So let's put back Senator Moreno. And again, this is all focused on a simple question. How many people have left via any capacity since Donald J. Trump, our president, has been in office? And this is what the senator is receiving.
It doesn't matter. I'm under what basis they left. I just want to know how many have left. And I think your testimony is nobody has left. Next question.
Nope, that's not my testimony. You asked it one time. I answered it one time. You didn't get the answer you wanted for your clips. You keep asking it. I told you I'd get you the numbers, but you can keep asking it.
So again, he is saying that wasn't his testimony. But just prior to that, he just said they did a plus up. So again, respectfully, KASH Patel, to be the director, FBI director, KASH Patel, and I really don't know how long that's going to last. Now, are you confused? What's going on? What's wrong?
Which field office, division, or directorate has gained the most personnel since January 2025? You noted that there have been plus ups. So which offices have received these plus ups?
The greatest allocation that I believe was given to California and then Florida.
He just said he believes. No, sir, you should know. You just sat there and said, with a piece of paper in your hand that looks like a script from my lens, there were plus ups. So now you're saying you believe. No, you should know. This is why people are burning you the way that they are.
Where were those offices?
California and Florida.
Director Patel, you often refer to FBI agents as cops. All of us, Democrats and Republicans, support the police officers who keep our communities safe. But while our states, cities, counties, and towns all employ police officers to protect our communities, Congress has empowered and equipped the FBI to take on missions that local police cannot, especially taking on terrorists, hackers, and spies. I'd like to assess how well the FBI is able to handle its specialized missions under your leadership. The FBI is the nation's lead federal law enforcement agency for investigating and preventing acts of domestic and international terrorism. And yet the executive assistant directors in charge of the FBI's national security and intelligence branches were both forced out at the beginning of the year. Who replaced them in those positions?
Excellent qualified personnel to lead the mission of arresting 23,000 violent criminals this year alone.
KASH Patel, respectfully, you're not qualified to be in the position that you're holding at this moment. And your deputy director, who announced that he would no longer be in that position, Dan Bongino, he wasn't qualified. Respectfully. Let's continue.
That's twice as many
The
as
people who
before.
took the places of
I'm not going to give you any names so you can attack them.
Why not?
All right, I want you all to see that because he's getting a little bit uptight now. So let's remove the senator for a quick moment. And it's such a beautiful photo. And we'll get a quick shot of this. Okay, and here we go. Thank you again for tuning in.
Preventing acts of domestic and international terrorism. And yet the executive assistant directors in charge of the FBI's national security and intelligence branches were both forced out at the beginning of the year. Who replaced them in those positions?
Excellent qualified personnel to lead the mission of arresting 23,000 violent criminals this year alone. That's twice as many
the
as
people
before.
who took the places of
I'm not going to give you any names so you can attack them.
Why not?
So you can attack them. I'm not doing that. The
You're not
people
gonna
sitting
give
in
me the
those seats
names
are
of-
extremely qualified to handle the job.
You're
We
not
would
going
not
to
have
give
the
me the names
results.
of personnel
We
who
would
should
not
be
have the
on your
reduction
right,
of
fine,
violence in the
moving on.
state of Hawaii if we did not allocate the
Earlier
resources we
this
did.
year, FBI counterterrorist special agents and investigators were reassigned to assist with immigration enforcement. Reportedly, these counterterrorism experts were returned to the jobs they trained for in late January after Iran threatened to retaliate for our strikes on their nuclear facilities. Have those experts remained in the jobs they trained for since that time? Yet Director Patel, the FBI is also the lead federal agency for investigating cyber attacks and
Yes.
cyber intrusions, both by foreign nation states and by non-state hacker groups. Since President Trump's inauguration, the executive assistant director in charge of the criminal and cyber branch and the head of the FBI cyber division have both left the FBI. What are the names of the people who replace them in those positions?
The cyber branch is one of the most impressive at the FBI. 409 arrests this year, 169 convictions. That's a 42% increase.
Sir, she didn't ask you for stats. She asked you for the names. Look, just look at this.
From the same time last year.
It's that
So
branch,
any
Mr.
suggestion that
Patel.
the FBI cyber division is not operating at full capacity and better than ever before, the leadership at the branch is implementing these changes necessary to attack the cyber and ransomware infrastructure operators.
You know
from Iran,
why
China, and
they're
Russia.
important? I want to know who has those positions, since the people who are
Exactly. She's asking for the names. He's running off stats, which may not even be accurate. Because keep in mind, he has blundered when it came to two very high profile situations. He jumped the gun. Perhaps that was a very poor choice of words to use, so I retract that in my apologies. He jumped too quickly. He moved too quickly and put out information that was not accurate.
originally were there.
Supremely
Are no longer
qualified
there.
individuals have those
Who
positions.
are they?
Supremely qualified
Who
individuals.
are they?
Supremely qualified individuals. So you can see, ladies and gentlemen, he does not want to provide or doesn't know. This would not be the first for certain individuals in the government. Let's continue.
What are the names?
You're not
You
getting
don't
them.
know. Special agents who investigate cybercrime were also reassigned for immigration enforcement. Have those expert investigators returned to their duties? Yes or no?
All agents remained on their primary duties while surging to allocate resources for interagency operations to the Homeland Security task forces across this country.
So are you?
Am I what?
See, I'm not getting the yes or no answers. I get all this explanation. So there you go.
No, you get the work that
Are
the men
you
and women of the
planning
FBI are doing. You
Any
don't want that.
additional personnel cuts to the cyber division in the future?
The only people that will be terminated at the FBI will be those that violate their oath of office, fail to meet the high standards of the FBI.
Director Patel, the FBI is meant to be the tip of the spear in combating terrorism against the United States from both foreign and domestic sources. It's also our lead agency in fighting the hackers who target our businesses and critical infrastructure. But instead of its specialized role fighting these kinds of terrorists, hackers, and spies, you have the FBI playing the role of local police and helping with immigration enforcement. I'm going to move on to my, you've been asked some questions about changes to your hiring standard, and including college degrees.
So basically, that is Senator Mazie Hirono, who asked basic questions and could not get an answer from FBI Director KASH Patel. We will be going on to our next individual that's scorched him momentarily. Again, welcome to each and every one that has joined in to this special Sunday broadcast of KASH Patel Scorched by failing to answer simple questions. I'm your hostess, Lise. If you would be so kind to double tap your screens, or depending upon the device you are using, to please give this a thumbs up. Your comments are welcome. I am just asking that you are respectful to me being the host, those who are in the chat, and those who may catch the replay. We will be back after this very short break. Again, welcome to those that are here, my members. I love you so much. My subscribers, and again, those who just come in from time to time. And if you're new here, welcome. Happy holidays, and I hope to see you again virtually. And we are back. We are back. We are back. Thank you so much for staying along as we continue this special Sunday broadcast on KASH Patel, scorched by failing to answer basic questions And next up, we have the firecracker out of Texas, Jasmine Crockett, who totally annihilated KASH Patel, FBI director, KASH Patel at a House hearing, referring to him as the least qualified FBI director. This was epic. Again, fair use, and let us continue. Again, thank you so much for tuning in on this Sunday afternoon broadcast.
Least qualified FBI director in the history of the FBI. That is real, because you are the only one that never even served with the FBI.
I don't give a damn what they say about me, as long as I'm succeeding in the mission.
So we're gonna do a hard stop right there because him got really mad, and I want to get to that where you could actually see the heat. Okay.
You are the least qualified FBI director in the history of the FBI. That is real, because you are the only one that never even served with the FBI.
I don't give a damn what they say about me, as long as I'm succeeding in the mission.
And oh man.
He said he doesn't give a hoot. Well, of course, that's not what he said, but as long as he is serving in the mission. So let's continue on listening to Jasmine Crockett. Again, fair use and welcome to everyone that's joined in and to those who may catch this replay.
And there has been so much today, and I truly don't know where to start. So I'm just going to make sure that we start off with a few facts. So a couple of facts that we need to make clear for everyone is that, number one, Director Christopher Wray, when he was appointed to be the head of the FBI, was appointed by Donald Trump. Now, I will agree that I definitely take issue with a number of decisions that Donald Trump makes, especially when it comes to the people that he decides to appoint to very important positions, including this one, because I did have to make sure that I wasn't going crazy. But when I say that you are the least qualified FBI director in the history of the FBI, that is real, because you are the only one that never even served with the FBI prior to joining. Yet we are supposed to believe that
That's
you are
false.
the greatest thing since sliced bread. I didn't ask you a question. Now, what I want to go.
So she said, I didn't ask you a question, so I'm going to go back just a little further and get that for you.
Because you are the only one that never even served with the FBI prior to joining. Yet we are supposed to believe that
That's
you are
false.
the greatest thing since sliced bread. I didn't ask you a question. Now,
She said, I didn't ask you a question. KASH Patel has been scorched by so many people, but wait, there's more. Let's continue on listening to Madam Jasmine Crockett out of Texas.
what I want to
Still
go
false.
through is to talk about why you are a failure and why, honestly, we just need to tell you bye-bye. I know that you got a little upset and you put on your show for your boss because it seems like you're trying to save your job when it came to talking to Senator Booker yesterday. But let's go through some of your failures. So before you were even confirmed, and I think one of my colleague from Georgia, pointed out that you were already targeting career officials so that you could direct illegal firings. Mind you, these cases that you were so upset about, which are the ones tied to Trump, the cases came through his handpicked FBI director. And frankly, when people sit around and say things like, oh,
we're happy because now we feel safe. I don't know who feels safe in this country except for the white supremacists, because I specifically as a Black woman definitely don't feel safe. And frankly, my colleagues have been real nice to you today, and I applaud them, but I don't have the same demeanor because I know that multiple colleagues on this side of the aisle have faced death threats. In fact, somebody tried to kill one of my colleagues. And frankly, I don't know if this FBI or under your leadership, if those people would have been caught. I don't have any confidence in you. And if we start talking about the reasons that I lack confidence, we could start with you not just wanting to acknowledge some simple facts. Simple facts like the vast majority of the threats are coming from right-wing extremism. And I know my colleagues have tried to stress.
So we're going to stop right there and go to a clip. Again, thank you so much for tuning in.
FBI Director KASH Patel needs to be impeached immediately. Listen to what he said under oath about the Epstein files, and then look at what I just found.
There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals.
But this court document right here says...
So that's an individual. Again, shout out to those creators over there at TikTok who they're on KASH Patel's top as well. So he's having difficulties in answering simple questions as it relates to FBI individuals who have left under various reasons and as it relates to the Epstein files. So let's listen to another clip, and we are going to continue with Madam Jasmine Crockett.
You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself? And you said himself, there's no credible information, none. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And Kennedy, the information we have, again, is limited. And Senator Kennedy said the answer is no one. And you said for the information we have. So is it your testimony today that in all the Epstein files, that Jeffrey Epstein trafficked no one to anyone but himself? Is that your testimony, Mr.
I never said Jeffrey Epstein didn't traffic anyone else.
Did he traffic any young woman to someone other than himself? That was Mr. Kennedy's question.
I said the information that 3 administrations have had access to have made determinations that there are no investigative leads that were credible to prosecute and investigate any others. I'm specifically stating
whether your testimony today.
You just read it, and I said it 10 minutes ago, so let the record reflect my testimony.
I just want to make sure there's no misunderstanding, because there are victims like Virginia Guifer who have testified otherwise, who have said otherwise, and you're telling the American people today that the Epstein list is a single name and it's Jeffrey Epstein. That's what we're to believe?
That's not what I'm saying. That's what you're saying. And well, you can say whatever you want.
Let me ask you this.
What happens when a Senate hearing stops being about answers and turns into a meltdown? Watch closely, because when Senator Adam Schiff presses FBI Director KASH Patel on political retaliation and the Epstein files, the facts don't collapse, but Patel's composure does.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Patel, during your confirmation hearing, you made several important commitments. For instance, you told Senator Coons there will be no politicization at the FBI. There will be no retributive actions taken by any FBI should I be confirmed as FBI Director. So let me ask you very specifically, did you ever take any action to terminate or discipline an FBI agent or employee in whole or in part as retribution for being part of an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th?
No.
You also committed, you assured Senator Blumenthal, all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. So you're testifying today that you played no role in the firing of even a single FBI agent for political retribution.
None for political retribution.
And if any FBI agent said you did, they would be lying. Is that your testimony?
I'm only speaking to my actions. Everybody is allowed to make their allegations.
Oh, no, these are allegations against you.
And
So we're going to get back to Adam Schiff, but I'm showing you, I'm laying you the blueprint, how KASH Patel is literally crumbling under pressure. So let's continue to listen to Madam Jasmine Crockett.
This, but I decided that I would maybe do it in a different way. Number one, I have a couple of UCs. Kim Buck, one of multiple Republicans receiving death threats for voting against Jim Jordan as House Speaker.
Without objection.
Another one, Republican lawmaker says she received death threats after voting against Jim Jordan in Speaker's race.
Without objection.
In addition, there was another one from another colleague who now is leaving Congress because they said that they were calling his wife anonymously and threatening her life to the extent that she ended up sleeping with a firearm.
Without objection.
Okay, so here's the deal. How are we supposed to have confidence when you're sitting up here telling the Senate yesterday that it will take you 14 years before you can get the FBI fully staffed to do their jobs? You're also now redirecting resources so that they can go and play ICE agents on the streets. You're getting rid of your most qualified people. And even when it came down to somebody that you consider to be a friend, you were posted up having some fancy dinner to the extent that you posted not only once erroneously, you posted twice erroneously as it relates to catching somebody. And then you want to go and say, let me take a victory lap because
she's speaking about the tragedy at Brown University. This is one of the examples, the glaring examples of how Kash Patel misspoke. And he did it with his chest out. And he did the exact same thing when it happened to the incident where 2 National Guard troops were hurt in Washington, D.C., and one, unfortunately, according to reports, succumbed from her injuries. He made it clear that they had the individuals and they were looking for more. And then they had to come back and retract that because the individual was in custody. So again, this is the head of the FBI. I would question, where is he getting his information? This is an embarrassment. And to me, it's putting the country at risk because enemies are watching and they're seeing the weakness. This man is a weak link, in my opinion, and the opinion of many others.
Honestly, if it wasn't for parents deciding that they were going to turn in their child, it seems like y'all wouldn't have got there. Even though he literally confessed online. So I'm confused about what it is that the FBI is doing, except for trying to put on a show for The Apprentice or whatever you want to call him. The day after all of this took place, there was domestic terrorism that was taking place at HBCUs. They were targeted. Yet I didn't hear anything from the FBI about what was going on. And again, Black people kept saying, how did we end up in this? Because the numbers are so very clear that white supremacy is a problem. And honestly, I've not heard anything out of you today that makes me believe that you're going to do anything about the white supremacy problem. The one that is leading to children being killed, children being shot, as well as members of their community as they're worshiping in their churches.
Here's what I've learned in my government service.
Okay, I'm going to show this. Take her down really quickly.
I don't give a damn what they say about me as long as I'm succeeding in the mission. We're succeeding in the mission because the men and women of the FBI have never been empowered to do more work and to hit the streets harder than by President Trump's authorities and resources he's given us. And so all I care about is that we are capturing more child predators than ever before, taking more drugs off the streets than ever before, that we are capturing murderers at a significantly historic rate, and we're delivering this country the lowest murder rate in recorded history. That are facts.
I have to respectfully disagree with you. FBI Director Patel, have you walked the streets of Washington, D.C. lately? I'm not talking about the portion that's been gentrified. I'm talking about those where there's dilapidated buildings, where people have no jobs, where there are still homeless people, where there are people that are walking up and down the streets, some having conversations with themselves, some of them, sir, that happen to be homeless veterans. Can you address that? Would you address that? So we're going to go to another clip, and that is of Adam Schiff. Now, I don't have his photo up here, so just know that's who we're speaking about, and we'll get to that in one quick moment. Thank you so much, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're going to switch gears a little bit and get to Adam Schiff when he was pressed on the Epstein Files. So this is a bonus. Again, welcome to this afternoon broadcast of Kash Patel Gets Scorched when asked basic questions. And these are basic questions as well. Let's continue.
To other individuals. And Kennedy, the information we have again is limited. And Senator Kennedy said the answer is no one. And you said for the information we have. So is it your testimony today that in all the Epstein files, that Jeffrey Epstein trafficked no one to anyone but himself? Is that your testimony, Mr.
I never said Jeffrey Epstein didn't traffic anyone else.
Did he traffic any young woman to someone other than himself? That was Mr. Kennedy's question.
I said the information that 3 administrations have had access to have made determinations that there are no investigative leads that were credible to prosecute and investigate any others. I'm specifically stating
whether it's your testimony today.
You just read it, and I said it 10 minutes ago, so let the record reflect my testimony.
I just want to make sure there's no misunderstanding, because there are victims like Virginia Weaver who have testified otherwise, who have said otherwise, and you're telling the American people today that the Epstein list is a single name and it's Jeffrey Epstein. That's what we're to believe?
That's not what I'm saying. That's what you're saying. And well, you can say whatever.
So this has started off heated already. And we're going to go to another clip. This is Adam Mockler. He is also on YouTube. Very young individual, but so in tune as to what is going on and provides excellent breakdowns. Again, Adam Mockler. Let's go.
Trump said he would release the files if he won. Then Pam Bondi said they were on her desk, but then the files didn't exist. Then they were a hoax. But then Obama wrote the files, but then they're a hoax again. Then Obama is in the files, even though he somehow wrote the files, but wait a minute, the files are a hoax again. But then Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden wrote the files, but Joe Biden is in the files. And don't forget, the files are a hoax. Charlie Kirk, who wants the files released, gets shot, and suddenly the files weren't in the news at all. And then the government shuts down right after that. So oops, we can't release the files. And then, remember, the files are a hoax anyways, but then the Democrats wrote the files, which are a hoax to besmirch Trump's name, but all the files only contain Democrats, according to Trump, and then the files are real, and they begin to be released, and they mention Trump by name like hundreds of times, but Trump and only Trump is innocent out of every other person mentioned. Every other person mentioned is guilty. Trump is the only one that's innocent because remember, Obama / Hillary / I don't know, Joe Biden wrote these files. I'm losing track of all of the lies that the administration tells, but you guys get the point. This is the largest cover-up since Watergate, even larger than Watergate in size, scope, and scale. Watergate was largely concentrated. The cover-up aspect of Watergate was largely concentrated within Nixon's own inner circle and inner cabinets. If you've read All the President's Men, it was all the president's inner circle men who were perpetrating this cover-up. But with Trump, it's every single administration department, every single department across the administration. Sorry, it is the FBI. The FBI director is just lying in front of Congress. It's the DOJ, the Department of Justice. The Attorney General is sitting there lying on Fox News about having the files on her desk. Department after department after department. Actually, the only person who's been brutally honest about the Epstein files seems to have been Elon Musk, who for one moment tweeted out the truth, which was Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. To continue, before we dig into this Kash Patel video, Donald Trump then posted last night asking no more. He said no more release of the files. Quote, now 1 million more pages on Epstein are found. DOJ is being forced to spend all of its time on this Democrat Epstein-inspired hoax. Okay, so it's a hoax again. It's a hoax again. When do they say no more and work on election fraud? I hate this. So the Epstein files are a hoax in Trump's eyes, but something that's very real is election fraud. Get the fuck out of here. Dems are the ones who worked with Epstein, not the Republicans. Release all of their names, embarrass them, and get back to helping our country. The radical left doesn't.
Well, your thoughts on that as we go back to Adam Schiff pressing Kash Patel as it relates to the Epstein files, and this is courtesy of Liberal Lens. Again, courtesy of Liberal Lens. Fair use. And thank you.
Let me ask you this.
What happens when a Senate hearing stops being about answers and turns into a meltdown? Watch closely, because when Senator Adam Schiff presses FBI Director Kash Patel on political retaliation and the Epstein files, the facts don't collapse, but Patel's composure does.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Patel, during your confirmation hearing, you made several important commitments. For instance, you told Senator Coons there will be no politicization at the FBI. There'll be no retributive actions taken by any FBI should I be confirmed as FBI Director. So let me ask you, very specifically, did you ever take any action to terminate or discipline an FBI agent or employee in whole or in part as retribution for being part of an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th?
No.
You also committed, you assured Senator Blumenthal, all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. So you're testifying today that you played no role in the firing of even a single FBI agent for political retribution.
None for political retribution.
And if any FBI agent said you did, they would be lying. Is that your testimony?
I'm only speaking to my actions. Everybody is allowed to make their allegations.
Oh, no, these are allegations against you.
And
so, Mr. Patel, if FBI, senior FBI agents or employees said that you were firing them for political retribution reasons because of the cases they were assigned, you're saying they would be lying.
Anyone that was terminated at the FBI was done so for failing to meet the standards, uphold their constitutional oath, and effectuate the mission.
Well, by meet the standard.
He has not answered one single question outright. He's playing merry-go-round or ring around the rosies. Let's continue to listen to Schiff.
Are you talking about meet the standards of protecting the president under any circumstance?
No.
You also guaranteed Senator Blumenthal that every FBI employee will be held to the same, absolute same standard. No one will be terminated for case assignments. Are you testifying today that you never terminated anyone at the FBI in whole or in part because of a prior case assignment?
No one at the FBI is terminated for case assignments alone.
Well, I'm asking about you, Mr. Patel. Did you in whole or in part terminate anyone at the FBI because they worked on the Trump investigation or because they worked on January 6th?
No one at the FBI has been terminated for case assignments alone.
Okay, you're saying alone. Does that mean they were terminated in part because they were assigned to a January 6th case or assigned to the Mar-a-Lago case? You're being very precise here, Mr. Patel. You're saying alone. That means they were fired in part because they were assigned those cases. Is that your testimony?
Absolutely not. But if you want to keep
Okay,
putting words
well,
in my mouth,
then
go
let me
ahead.
ask you, let's strip away the word alone. Did you terminate or participate in any discipline of any FBI employee in whole or in part because of their work on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th? Yes or no?
Any terminations at the FBI by employees?
No, I'm asking you a very specific
and I'm
question.
going to answer the question, but you don't like the answer because it's the
No,
truth and it
I
guts
want
your
an answer to my
narrative.
question. I don't want an answer to someone else's question. So let me just be precise and I
He did that the same way as he answered or did not answer Senator Hirono, who we saw earlier. Let me put her back up real quick so you remember. May not, there you go. And she grilled him good. So let's continue to listen to Schiff. But again, compare the similarities.
ask for a yes or no answer. Did you ever terminate or discipline an FBI employee in whole or in part because they had been assigned or worked on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th?
FBI
Yes or no?
employees are only terminated
Yes
if
or
they
no,
fail
Mr.
to
Patel?
uphold their oaths of
Yes or
office
no?
and duty.
You're not
at
answering
the
my
FBI
question.
I
You're
don't
not
have to
answering my
answer your question yes or no because you're setting up a trap so you can have a
No,
media
I'm not setting
narrative.
up a trap.
He said he didn't have to answer a question because he's setting up a trap. So let me go ahead and grab some of these comments because that's one of the things that I enjoy doing. And Eclap says Patel should be fired for his obnoxious lies he told during this episode. Susan says, why, or asks rather, why is this level of aggression towards Congress allowed? It's shocking. Suzette says, Kash Patel is a liar. No more, no less. He must think the American and international community is ill-informed. HD says, that Patel guy is so aggressive, very nasty character. Grab a couple more. Mel says, this is what we call a hostile witness. Kids, Patel is extremely childish. And someone says Cash App needs to be impeached. So let's continue on a little bit with this shakedown, if you will, with Schiff asking basic questions, and obviously Kash Patel is not cooperating. So we'll go up top. There we go. I'm going to extend this out. And again, welcome to those of you that are just coming in. If you would be so kind to please double tap your screens, or depending upon the device you are listening to, give this a thumbs up. Comments are welcome. I just ask that you are respectful to the host and those who may be communicating in the chat. Please and thank you so much.
Without any consultation with Blanche or anyone else, that they were going to suddenly, after this interview, completely unrelated to this interview, completely unrelated to anything she said, move her to a prison not suitable for a sex offender. You want the American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
No, I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements
Oh,
of
you're not in
inmates.
the weeds.
What I am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform,
witness,
and
the most
combating the
significant
weaponization of
witness, the
intelligence
Epstein
by the
Files
likes of you.
cover-up,
And we have
yet
countlessly proven you to be a
your
liar in
administration,
Russiagate, in
and you
January
call that
6th.
being
You are
in
the
the
biggest
weeds?
fraud to ever sit in the
This
United States
stinks to
Senate.
high
You are a
heaven.
disgrace to this
This stinks to high
institution
heaven.
and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised
not
that you continue to
surprised
lie
that the-
from
the-
your
the-
perch and put on a show
you-
so you can go
you-
raise money
well,
for your
and for good
charade.
reason.
You are a political buffoon at best.
Well, you can take an internet troll.
Take it to the bank that the FBI is protecting this country and the state and citizens.
Kash Patel just called him a political buffoon at best. Let's go back a bit. If I can do this. I may not be able to, and I don't want to mess up where I am. Okay.
Transcript in front of me. You're picking it piecemeal. The American public can read the
Let me ask
entirety
you
of that.
one last question, because you clearly won't tell us the cabinet members associated with Mr. Epstein. Let me ask you one last question. And that is, right after she gives this testimony in front of an FBI agent, among others, she's transferred to a minimum security prison not suitable for a sex offender like herself. Who made that decision and why?
The Bureau of Prisons.
The Bureau of Decisions made it in
Prisons.
The Bureau of Prisons decided on their own, without any consultation with Blanche.
So they're speaking about Ghislaine Maxwell, and Kash Patel had to correct him and said prison. So I'll give Kash Patel a point for that one.
Or anyone else that they were going to suddenly, after this interview, completely unrelated to this interview, completely unrelated to anything she said, move her to a prison not suitable for a sex offender. You want the American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
No. I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements
Oh,
of
you're not in
inmates.
the weeds?
What I am
The
doing is
most-
protecting this
the
country,
most- the
providing
most
historic
significant
reform,
witness-
and
the most
combating the
significant
weaponization of
witness, the
intelligence
Epstein
by the
Files
likes of you.
cover-up,
And we have
yet
countlessly proven you to be a
your
liar in
administration,
Russiagate, in
and you
January
call that
6th.
being
You are
in
the
the
biggest
weeds?
fraud to ever sit in the
This
United States
stinks to
Senate.
high
You are a
heaven.
disgrace to this
This stinks to high
institution
heaven.
and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised
not
that you continue
surprised
to lie
that the-
from
the-
your
the-
perch and put on a show
interview-
so you can go raise money
No,
for your
and for good
charade.
reason.
You are a political buffoon at best.
Well, you can.
All righty. Kash Patel made sure that he got the last word in there, so we're going to advance it a little bit more and go on to the next. Thank you so much for those that have tuned in and who may catch the replay.
Epstein Files. Patel has built a public persona around being the most transparent FBI director in history. Transparency, however, is not measured by how many pages are dumped online. It is measured by whether statements made to the public align with testimony under oath. When Schiff confronted Patel with his prior claim that Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book was under the direct control of the FBI director, Patel did not deny saying it. Instead, he blurred definitions, pivoted to releases and indexes, and leaned on procedural language. That is not clarification. That is retreat. Here is the critical educational point for viewers. Transparency without accountability is not transparency at all. Saying read the transcript is meaningless if leadership refuses to interpret or stand behind what those records imply. Victims like Virginia Giuffre did not spend years testifying publicly just to be told implicitly that the investigative record leads nowhere beyond Epstein himself. When a government official suggests there were no credible investigative leads involving anyone else, despite extensive public reporting and sworn victim statements, that disconnect demands explanation. Schiff was pressing on that gap. The moment Patel pivoted from defensive testimony to personal attacks is where institutional norms truly broke down. Oversight hearings are designed to absorb pressure. They are adversarial by design, but they are governed by restraint. When a witness responds to questioning by attacking the questioner's character, motives, and legitimacy, it signals something deeper than frustration. It signals that the witness no longer believes they owe the institution an answer. That is dangerous because the FBI's authority depends on public trust in its neutrality and professionalism. For viewers trying to make sense of this emotionally, it helps to humanize what is at stake. FBI agents are career professionals who swear an oath to the Constitution, not to a president or a political movement. When leadership leaves even the appearance that agents could be punished for the cases they were assigned, morale suffers and independence erodes.
Okay. Your thoughts on that as we get to the final round of grilling. Again, thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please be sure to double tap your screens, or depending upon the device you're listening to, hit the thumbs up. Comments are welcome to those that are in the chat or those who may catch the replay. We shall return momentarily. And again, your thoughts and opinions thus far, and we're going to listen to this clip here. One more time.
Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself, or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he hung himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
When do you think you'll have it done, Cash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Like before I die?
Senator, we've been working on that, and we're doing it in a way that protects victims and also doesn't put out into the ether information that is irrelevant for.
So next up on the docket, we have Cory Booker, who went ham on Kash Patel during a heated Senate hearing. Again, this is fair use and courtesy of Hook Global. Again, courtesy of Hook Global. Let's continue.
And installing political personnel before you were confirmed to that position. And I wonder, did you then understand or have conversations with the White House about the intentions to do so?
Before I was confirmed?
Yes, sir.
Did I have discussions with the White House to remove FBI personnel?
Yes.
No.
So you're saying that you had no discussions with the White House before you were in the position about the removal of any personnel from the agency?
As I was preparing for my confirmation hearing, I had numerous discussions involving the type of people that would be employed, and that those that were failing to meet the mark at the FBI would no longer be employed if I were
And I'm assuming that mark had to do with loyalty to the Trump administration.
No, you're wrong.
Okay. I'd like to revisit another subject from that hearing. Did you testify, you did testify before the grand jury that President Trump had declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Is that correct?
I don't have the grand jury transcript. That's why I released it. Whatever it says is the best evidence.
That's what you said to Senator Whitehouse, that your grand jury testimony was publicly released. It has not been. In fact, in July, a court denied a news outlet's bid to get that transcript. But the court said quite clearly that you are free to discuss your grand jury testimony. So I ask you again, did you testify before the grand jury that President Trump declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified document case?
And that is why I took your invitation to work with the department and the court to have that transcript released. And the transcript is the best evidence of what I said then.
So you're saying right now this committee can have access to what you said before the grand jury?
To whatever was released. Under my understanding, Senator,
so
that the Department of Justice.
You and I both understand the law. Let me finish. I understand under Rule 6 of the Federal Rules of Procedure, a grand jury witness, in this case you, is not barred from sharing their grand jury testimony. This is an oversight hearing. This is germane to your integrity and credibility. You know right now whether or not you testified that President Trump declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Why are you refusing to answer that simple yes or no question right now?
And
there is no premise to my question, but trying to get to an order of what is truth or not.
Again, we are back at trying to get FBI Director Kash Patel to answer simple questions. We've listened to, this is the third individual, and there are many more, actually fourth, but there are so many more, and it's the same thing.
How do you know what was asked in the grand jury if you weren't there?
Mr. Patel, this is a mockery you're making of this hearing and simple questions.
It's a simple question. If you have
Mr. Patel, during your nomination hearing, you promised that, quote, all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. When I asked you, are you aware of any plans or discussions to punish in any way, including termination, FBI agents or personnel associated with the Trump administration, you explicitly said under oath that you were not aware of any plans to punish FBI agents associated with criminal investigations of Donald Trump. I don't believe you were truthful. Firing FBI employees based solely on the cases that they are investigating, their case assignments, is illegal, and you know that. A new lawsuit that's been discussed numerous times, filed by 3 FBI officials, alleges that you carried out Donald Trump's campaign of retribution, in quotes, against FBI employees for, quote, failure to demonstrate sufficient political loyalty. One of those plaintiffs has been discussed today, Brian Driscoll. Now, we know 20 years of distinguished service to the FBI before you terminated him. Special agent in charge of FBI's Newark field office, where he operated with distinction. Medal of Valor winner, Shield of Bravery awards. He's a patriot. You terminated Driscoll via a letter dated October 8th, 2025. And in that letter, you said that you were firing him pursuant to Article 2 of the Constitution. Well, you're not the President of the United States. And so I'm wondering under what authority you were allowed to terminate him.
That matter is under litigation, and I'm not able to discuss it.
Okay, well, discuss this. Did you have discussions with Stephen Miller about firing this particular person?
Cory Booker said, well, discuss this. Let's listen to, or listen. I had a couple of comments. LaShawn says, I can't wait until they all go to jail. This ish is going to catch up to them all. Official Mikey Moe says, we are witnessing the fall of the empire in real time. Katrina says, Kash Patel is an evil person. And Jerry says, Kash is a pinhead. Get him out of office now. I'm trying to clean this up for you all. And Highberry says, Senator Booker cooked him so well. Let's continue to listen to Senator Cory Booker. And again, those of you that are here, welcome. And I hope you have enjoyed this broadcast so far. And again, I understand that there are people that agree to disagree, but again, you have to pay attention and look at the pattern of the conduct of Kash Patel and many others, but the subject is Kash Patel today. So this is Senator Cory Booker. And let me put his photo up. And we'll continue.
Or about his continuance in the FBI?
Not that I recall.
How often do you speak to Stephen Miller?
Frequently on our Homeland Security task forces.
You frequently talk with Stephen Miller about subjects other than Homeland Security task force issues, correct?
I frequently talk to Mr. Miller about Homeland Security task forces.
Has Stephen Miller ever given you his opinions on how to run your agency?
Mr. Miller's interagency operations are invaluable to the FBI. That's what we talk about.
So you frequently discuss your job and your responsibilities with Stephen Miller and Pam Bondi, I imagine, as well.
Absolutely. She's the Attorney General.
Understood. Okay. Donald Trump promised to make us all safer.
Pam Bondi has some issues of her own. I'll be speaking on that at a later time.
You have pushed out senior FBI agents with decades of knowledge and experience. In fact, this is the first time in FBI history that neither the director nor the deputy director have any experience with the FBI. You've shifted the agency's priorities primarily to pursuing Donald Trump's immigration enforcement agenda. According to ICE data, the Cato Institute, which is a conservative think tank, found that 20% of all agents have been diverted from their work to assist ICE immigration enforcement. 20%. Part of this operation is the work of mass law enforcement who jump out of cars, snatch people off streets at churches, schools, and their jobs and hospitals. Have there been any FBI agents who investigate crimes against children that have been assigned to immigration enforcement, yes or no?
The premise of what you say is entirely
false. Have there been
false.
any FBI agents?
No.
Again, FBI Director Kash Patel will not answer yes or no. He goes into this long, drawn-out explanation, and he wonders why some people feel the way they do against him. Let's continue to listen to this mess.
No.
Foreign domestic terrorism.
You don't get to say America is not safer under this leadership.
I am not saying
America is safer because of the work of the FBI.
You're making a presumption of
4,700 children.
Sir,
we have 6,000 weapons and 23,000 violent felons have been
FBI
arrested.
Agents who investigate human trafficking have been reassigned to immigration enforcement. You are not denying that FBI agents who are on the task force that fight against Russian oligarchs have not been reassigned. Public Corrections Squad reassigned. People who defend us, defend children, reassigned. You're not denying that. I've seen you time and time again attack my colleagues' premises of questions as a way to not answer the question. So let me end with this. I believe you have made our country weaker and less safe. I believe that we are more vulnerable to a major event, and I pray to God it doesn't happen. You've gutted the Bureau of Institutional Knowledge.
And there has been a lot of people who has echoed that sentiment. So I'm going to rewind that so you can see the passion in Senator Booker's face when he says this.
Correction Squad reassigned. People who defend us, defend children, reassigned. You're not denying that. I've seen you time and time again attack my colleagues' premises of questions as a way to not answer the question. So let me end with this. I believe you have made our country weaker and less safe. I believe that we are more vulnerable to a major event, and I pray to God it doesn't happen. You've gutted the Bureau of Institutional Knowledge and Expertise.
And Kash Patel, as he's getting cooked.
You fired or pushed out seasoned FBI officials many with more than 20 years of experience, and were working on cases that were critical. You've been purging thousands of serious law enforcement officials who spent their careers keeping us safe, only to lower hiring standards in order to find anyone to replace them. And shockingly, you admitted in this hearing to Senator Coons that it would take 14 years to fill the vacancies at your agency. Many are the result of your purge. 20% of FBI agents are doing low-level immigration enforcement instead of their mission-critical work. You've disbanded entire task forces that stop election interference, foreign influence, public corruption. And who benefits from this? Well, corrupt people benefit from it. Criminals benefit from it. Vladimir Putin benefits from it. And it really makes me wonder who you're looking out for. It makes me think we can't trust you as a nation.
That was Senator Cory Booker who ended, and I'm ending that on a hard stop. We cannot trust you as a nation. Kash Patel, as I said, has been grilled and pressed by several different people. Again, Senator Mariano, Jasmine Crockett. We saw a clip of Adam Schiff earlier, and then you just heard from Cory Booker. But the list goes on. How long? How long do you think Kash Patel can withstand the pressure, the mounting pressure that's being applied from every angle? What else needs to happen where he goes out to the podium and again delivers misinformation that puts communities in danger? As an FBI director, that is something you should not do. And if you were competent, if you were an experienced individual that was qualified for this position, maybe these conversations would not be taking place. But you are not qualified, and in my opinion, extremely incompetent and inept. This ends today's Sunday afternoon broadcast. FBI Director Kash Patel scorched by failing to answer simple questions. Your thoughts and opinions on how long this will continue. If people are fed up enough to push for him to step down. Thank you so much for tuning in, and please remember to double tap your screens or hit the like button and any comments you may have. I appreciate each and every one of you. Enjoy the remainder of your Sunday. Please, please, please be safe, be well, and you know the rest. Be healthier. Until next video, bye-bye for now.